Hey guys, Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. We want to thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network. And if you want to see what we're up to outside of the station, please follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the good brother Alex Mercado on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. The lovely Nicole Mancha's on all social media platforms at Typing When Tipsy. You can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves, our pop culture show, The Good Brothers, on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod, our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More, and of course, like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all our videos on youtube.com/Mike Mercado 2333 or by searching Mercado Airwaves Network. We play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network, and of course, you can support our network by finding a tier just for you, whether you want early access, you want to be part of polls, you want to win contest prizes, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we really appreciate it wherever you get your favorite podcast to like, rate, review, and share us. And please spread the word. For the good brother, Alex Mercado, for the lovely Nicole Mancha, I'm Mike Mercado. We wish you a happy, healthy holiday season and an awesome new year.
And here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of The Good Brothers. I'm Alex, that's Mike, and we are joined by Nikki from Murder, Mysteries, and More. Is this a crossover? I think so.
Crossover.
Welcome to the greatest podcast in the world, Nicole, and in the Chicagoland area.
Oh, what about our show?
No, it's like for murder, that one's okay.
Okay.
But this is, sports and Star Wars.
Happy thoughts.
It's mostly Star Wars, honestly.
I was like, that's really the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, it's pretty much Star Wars.
And I'm Mike.
No, you're not Mike.
Wah, wah. Well, I hope everybody had a wonderful, awesome Christmas. I hope everybody's having a happy holidays. And if you don't celebrate anything, we hope you're just having a wonderful end of the year. But we are your last present. That's right. You had to dig a little deep. We are your little BB gun that we hope you don't shoot your eye out, kid, with. But, good brother, on this episode of The Good Brothers, we bring in a lovely guest like Nicole because something major must happen.
Enough for you?
Absolutely not. You're beautiful, my friend.
Thank you.
It is because we got to see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker a week ago. Now, we were going to drop this review, but obviously here in the United States, we are celebrating a Christmas.
Boxing Day, duh.
Yeah, Boxing Day. Obviously to all our Canadian friends, I believe, right? Or is that Australia?
I don't remember.
It's all good. Either way, wonderful
Either
people. You guys are awesome. But we are going to do...
negative.
So on this episode, we are going to go heavy on spoiler discussion. It's already been a week old. This thing is making a bunch of money.
Spoilers are already on Twitter.
And it's all out there. Baby Yoda lasted a day before spoilers came out for that. So we're going to go ahead and just, from now, moving forward, this is spoiler heavy. It'll be on the title. It'll be on the description. You guys won't be surprised that everything moving forward coming of our review and talk of Rise of Skywalker will be spoiler heavy. But if you're
Baba
also
Freak.
here, Baba Freak. But if you also want to know what's going on in the news and some other little tidbits, stick at the end of the episode of this episode of The Good Brothers, where the Good Brother and I will go through the rest of the agenda. But it is time to finish off the saga, a 40-year span that has really driven a divide between the fan base. We got to see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and it has been something that has taken the internet by storm like we knew it would. And I think it is now time to put our opinion out there. We've given it some time to rest. We're not going with the peer pressure or the cool thing to say. This is our honest opinions. So let's start with the unabashed Star Wars lover. And this is one of the reasons why this show works. Good brother, you are unabashedly a lover of the prequels.
Yep.
Just like myself, you love the originals. And you have been a big fan of the sequel trilogy. What did you think about The Rise of Skywalker?
I'm not really going to go into many plot stuff just because I feel like you're asked questions to go into that more. I loved it. I love everything in the Star Wars universe, honestly. Even my most hated things like the Clone Wars, the movie was very good to me. I think this is my third favorite Star Wars movie. If you're a diehard, it gives you so much that you wanted to see. I don't care if it's fan service. It closes off the Rey and the Poe and the Finn and the, Kylo Ren storyline in such a nice way. I really enjoyed it. I love the Leia stuff. there's just nothing in this movie that didn't work for me, honestly. Even the stupid stuff works for me, like the medal with Chewie. I love that stuff. I cried during that scene. Even though it's so stupid and it's such a fan service thing, I appreciate it. So I love the movie. I would say it's my third favorite after Return and Empire.
Lover Nicole, what did you think of The Rise of Skywalker?
I enjoyed it. I had some problems with it, though. I know better than to try to talk to all of you guys right after the movie when you're on the Star Wars high, so.
Well, and we'll get into your thoughts specifically throughout it. I think personally, I had a lot of fun in this movie.
Say nicer things.
More than anything, this movie gave me a lot of joygasms, I guess would be a better way to say it, than I would say any modern Star Wars movie. I can unabashedly say this, that's the third time I've used that word, that Revenge of the Sith is my favorite modern saga Star Wars movie that has come out.
Classic.
To me, Revenge of the Sith has gone into classic status, especially after these last three. And I thought I would never say that about a prequel film. I think The Force Awakens is the equivalent of Ant-Man and the Wasp in the Star Wars universe. I think it's a fantastic addition to the saga. I don't think it should be as divisive as it should be. I think The Last Jedi might be one of the coolest things to come out of the Star Wars saga. I think The Rise of Skywalker was the most safe thing that we've ever seen in a Star Wars movie, which is why I think I enjoyed it so much. It didn't try to pretend to be something it wasn't. My problems with the movie we'll get into more specifically as we go on. But all in all, if somebody was to ask me, can I tell somebody, go watch this movie? Is this a cool way to watch a Star Wars movie? Is this the equivalent of Infinity War or Endgame, where even if you're not a big fan of the series, but you could jump in and you've seen certain parts, can you do that? Absolutely. The Rise of Skywalker is a fan-friendly, everybody-friendly movie. But critically, I understand why it's at 55% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What's the fan score?
86%.
That's not bad.
Which makes... It's a trend that's been happening in Hollywood a lot, Loving Nicole, where there has been a divide, especially about these genre films, between the critics and the audience. Now, let's get into positivity first.
Okay.
Because I think that's strong. Power positivity. Good brother, what did you love specifically? What did you like specifically about this movie?
Everything. I'm kidding. Obviously, Kylo Ren and Rey, I love them. I think they did their characters justice. I think people's complaints were that certain characters didn't get enough screen time. In my positive, I didn't want those characters to get any more screen time. I didn't need Masquerada. I didn't need
Rose
or Del Toro coming back. I didn't need that. So the stuff I didn't like about Last Jedi, you took out. The stuff I liked, you made noticeable. I like how Luke, from the second movie, is kind of bitter and old and realizes the mistakes he made and turns it around. And I know people feel that as a cop-out, but that's character development, where we saw him 30 years ago. This is the man he is now. And yes, this moment in life changed him so much that he found the joy again. That's normal to me. I don't think that's fan service. That's a character arc.
Now, so I don't forget it because this is going to be a long conversation. Let me interject then a criticism I have about it, and I will add a positive as we go on through it. But one of the criticisms I have of this is The Last Jedi may not have hit for everybody. Luke throwing the lightsaber behind him hit people the wrong way. The blue milk scene.
Loved it.
See you around, kid. Like, there's a lot of things people didn't like about The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But it's canon. It's like the great John Campion said. It's your loser second cousin that lives in your grandma's basement that embarrasses the family, but he's still family. The prequels are family. The Last Jedi is family. Say what you will, Rian Johnson made an addition that did some things into this universe. JJ straight up said, I don't like this, and got rid of it.
I don't think I don't see it like that.
But here's the thing, though. Like, how does... Literally, Luke Skywalker's first words were, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. So, contradicting his whole journey of excluding the Force
Awakens has gone on record as saying that it's like a throwback to it in a positive way, that, like, Rian Johnson wrote him as a not likable character. He made us not like Luke Skywalker so JJ can come back around and make us like him again. Maybe that wasn't the intention at first, but that's the way JJ went into this film now with Rian Johnson's blessing. So it was a deal. He did take a lot from Last Jedi. The good stuff, at least, and said, I do want to build on this. And there are some things we're going to kind of forget, and maybe we're going to try to tweak it around and be like, we meant that, even though we didn't. But it's good enough for us to keep in the family and say, we're going to throw it back to that.
What did you give as a positive after watching Last Jedi? What is something you took out of it?
I was actually really happy with the screen time that Finn and Poe had, like throughout. Like I was very happy with the screen time that they got because I feel like they're really strong characters, and I wanted to see more of them, and you get more of their own development as characters as well, besides just Rey, because Rey is kind of learning more about herself and really trying to figure out what she has to offer and who she is, and not even just who she is like last name, but who she is just in general and what she can contribute. So while she's lost, they're finding their ground. And I think because of that, it really sets up for when we lose Leia, for them to step up into these roles, and it makes it really powerful. And that was probably my favorite part.
Now, I personally loved Carrie Fisher in this movie, but loving Carrie Fisher and her performance in this movie and thinking that it didn't look weird, obviously, like for me, knowing what we knew, her scenes didn't look like they belonged in that movie. They looked like she acted them very well. Like she acted the hell out of those scenes. But I don't think the scenes looked right in the movie.
I thought the scenes looked fine, but you're right. You're crazy to think you're not going in there after such a long, what is it been, like almost a year and a half at this point? Since she's been gone. So I'm not going to, I like the scenes. I thought they were fine. They all work.
Sure.
But you go into it, you're like, it sucks because I already know Carrie Fisher's past. So you're either I wish she would have come closer to this film and got to be a little more of the heart in it, or I don't know, it just felt weird in the back of your head. I thought the scenes were fine, but I agree. Deep down, you kept thinking about Carrie Fisher's been gone for so long.
Like this isn't the
and it is a bit weird to see her acting in an entire movie. They probably could have done that scene maybe a little earlier in the film.
Yeah.
But I like the pacing. I do agree with Nicole. Poe and Finn were great. I like that we found out Finn was just going to tell Rey he's force sensitive. JJ's come out and said that's what he meant to tell her the whole film.
Okay, so it wasn't that he loved her.
That he's force sensitive. No.
Because he does hint at it throughout the entire movie that he's force sensitive.
Exactly. So that was what he was going to tell her, but they had to keep that a little more of a mystery. Poe's fun. He's my favorite character. He's so fun and just charismatic, and I don't know. He's just so cool. He's like again, he's the Han Solo of it. He's very cool.
Now, what do you guys think about? And this is a joke that's been running around the entire
Babu's great, guys.
Yeah, the entire internet though of Kylo Ren commits mass genocide, even within this own movie, in his own redemption story, is committing mass murder. And all it takes is Leia to say Ben for him to have an hallucination of a memory, and for Rey to say, I've seen Ben once. That's who I would reach out for. And then she kisses him. Like, there's a lot of weird...
That got me right here.
To me, like...
I don't like that.
Yeah, like, I heard this... I actually heard this on the internet. I think it was John Roca. Shout out to John Roca. I think this was way more poetic. It would have been better at the end. After Rey has defeated Palpatine, which we'll get into the Palpatine stuff in a little bit. After Rey defeats Palpatine and she dies, and we see Ben coming up to save her. When Ben saves her life, right before the kiss, Ben dies. And it's the tragedy is that he did turn, but he doesn't get the kiss. He doesn't get that love. He dies still.
Your only problem is really the kiss.
It's the kiss.
I
don't care that they love
your issue.
I don't care that they loved each other. There was connection because it's a Skywalker and or a Solo, Skywalker / Solo, and a Palpatine. I get the connection. But the kiss itself almost to me defeats the idea of Rey is supposed to be the most badass Jedi we've ever seen, and she can't see past like a cute boy with a big shoulders and chest.
I have my defense there. I think it shows that we've kind of hinted all three movies. The old Jedi way it's not right. Like there's a lot about the old ways that didn't work.
Yeah.
And I like these two kind of feeling like the whole time you feel the drive toward each other to be like, let's rule together. Let's be together and rule at the same time, which is not a Jedi thing.
Or a Sith thing.
So the kiss worked for me. I get where the kiss throws you off, but everything worked for me there because it felt real to them. It felt like we're not listening to our old masters. We're following our own path. Rey could be like, I'm the most badass Jedi ever. At the same time, if I want to kiss the boy, that's my choice. I thought that's empowering.
And you know what? And fair as that may be, I think what makes it maybe work for a lot of people, but also it may have been a miss for me, but why I still really enjoyed the movie, Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver carry Not just this movie, but this saga.
They're great.
Kylo Ren and
Rey.
I guess Rey Palpatine /
Rey
Skywalker.
Palpatine, she's got a name.
Yeah.
Oh, Rey Skywalker.
Yeah, I guess it's Rey Skywalker. Have carried this film.
Yeah.
Like, they have become the characters of the generation. I honestly think, like, while I'm a Poe stan, Poe is my favorite character of the modern era.
Kylo Ren's the best.
Chewbacca is my favorite all-time Star Wars character. But here's the thing. Though. The long-term legacy characters that will live on forever, that girls and boys would dress up are not going to be Finn, and it's not going to be Poe. It's Kylo, and it's Rey.
Yeah.
They have succeeded. People have always said that this trilogy, this modern trilogy, couldn't hit. The reason why it hasn't hit is because you can't recreate Han, Leia, and Luke. But what you can do is you could create your own new era, your own Elsa, and your own new characters, and that's what they did with Rey. And that's what they did with Kylo. And I think a lot of that is just how strong Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley were. Even though all of it didn't hit for me, when they were on screen, you paid attention to Kylo Ren and Rey. Always. And now let's go into the lineage part of this movie. Palpatine. So, Nicole, when you see how everything worked out with Palpatine going in there, before seeing that and knowing that we have this kiss and that we have this thing going on with Palpatine, what did you think about Daisy Ridley's Rey first kind of falling in love with and showing her affection for Kylo, and then kind of getting into the fact that we know she's a Palpatine?
So I didn't really have an opinion on that because in general, to me, it didn't feel... They had chemistry in a different way. I didn't feel like they had love chemistry.
Sexual chemistry?
Yeah, I felt like their chemistry came from just like this... recognizing someone who understands that they don't control their power as well, because she didn't understand it. She couldn't control it for a very long time. There's all these things. Kylo became drunk with it, but again couldn't control it because you saw how the dark side pulls him in, and he's like struggling to get out of it, because there are moments even before he kills Han. There's that moment in his eyes. If you haven't seen it, then this is not the place for you. But, like, you see it in his eyes where he struggles with that decision. He does it because he's like, this is what I'm supposed to do because I am the grandson of this, like, mighty emperor.
And then you see him do the reverse in the scene where he instead of, quote-unquote, turning lightsaber, he embraced his dad.
Right. So then you have...
me too, man. Every time.
But, like, for me, it felt like a camaraderie. I felt like she had more chemistry with Finn.
I thought she had more chemistry with Poe.
Either one, but like either one of them, I felt like she had a lot of chemistry with, just like when they embrace each other, when they all come back and the war is won and all of these things. Like, I just felt like that was more there than it was with Kylo. I felt the Kylo Ren Rey relationship was shoved down our throats this entire trilogy.
It's everything I wanted and more.
I actually think it's fascinating you say that so many people wanted so many different relationships in this. And you know what? Let's be honest. The directors did that. We saw it with Finn and Rose. Now we see it with Finn and this girl, the horse girl. And then you have Finn and Rey. You have Poe and Kerry Russell.
But is it just me that I like that? Because that's kind of real of, like, let's take it as a normal working day environment with young, pretty people.
Yeah.
Sure.
What you're going to get. Like, we love it in our reality TV. So it's a Star Wars universe. You're a rebel army. There's only so many other rebel army people.
Right.
Mandalorian does it too, where it's like, I enjoy these bounty hunters hooking up, because who else are they going to hook up with? No duh, there's all this sexual chemistry with Ace Pilot over here and Bill Black Rebel over here and Horse Girl over there. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of sexual chemistry.
So before we get to Palpatine, what did you guys think about the General Hux turn? I actually thought it was really stupid.
I thought it was fine.
I think it was
cool.
stupid.
I think we saw it coming. I think everyone. It was the worst.
Yeah, I saw
in
it
the
coming.
movie ever. In the movie,
not in the saga.
But it was only an add-on anyway. And since they kill him right away, it was fine with it. If he had helped any more, I would have been upset. The fact that it was so quick and they got him was like, okay, cool. I'm okay with it.
What did you guys think about all the Star Destroyers having planet destroyers
Did
now?
not like that.
I didn't like that either.
Well, you gotta go bigger.
Sure.
Like, we always go, too many Death Stars, too many. You gotta go bigger, or else it doesn't make any sense.
But then I feel like it goes too big. I feel like it pushes it too
I'm
much.
sure that's the biggest it's ever gonna get, guys.
Because then
I'm sure that's where they're gonna stop.
Because then you have when they're attacking, and it's like, if all of these motherfuckers have Planet Destroyers, there is no way they are not just
Star Wars lore
blowing this shit out of the water.
Star Wars lore showed us these big machines, as powerful as they are, have no aim for anything close up. and take at least 12 to 15 minutes to set up for one blast. So I'm just saying, we've been set up with the lore.
Look, when they're coming in and they see all of them swarming the skies. You're telling me they have planet destroyers but can't sense those people coming.
It takes 15 minutes. They're too big. Like I said, their bigness is I'm just saying,
were blowing them off like crazy. Get the fuck out of here.
We've been set up that's their detriment.
No.
Is they're too big to fight anything small up close. And then they have no radar for these horses. It worked for me.
So let's get into it. It starts off in the crawl. The dead speak. We see Palpatine's return. Now, it's been all over the trailers, but Palpatine's main return is in the crawl. I actually don't have a huge issue with that. The crawl usually is the setup for all Star Wars movies.
You got to get our attention. I loved it.
But my issue with Palpatine is just make it Palpatine from The Force Awakens. Like, this is my problem with this entire trilogy. Not this movie, this trilogy. You can tell they didn't plan anything in advance. They had an idea of what they wanted for The Force Awakens. Then they got Rian Johnson, and then it was supposed to be Colin Trevorrow. So you're going to have 3 different directors, 3 different script writers, 3 different storyboards.
Which at the time beforehand, we were all really excited about.
We were excited for 3 different directors, but we didn't know...
Kathleen Kennedy would have ran it a little easier through, yes.
The idea is that we've seen 23 Marvel films, and 20 of them are universally beloved. Why? Because there's one power head that shepherds this entire thing through, that makes sure that when they hire somebody, it gets done the proper way.
See, I'm gonna say this. I agree with everything you're saying. The problem is, I don't think the common Star Wars fan thinks like that. I just think they're stuck in their old ways, because original trilogy didn't have one thing either. That didn't have one storyline. Like, they went movie to movie, so it's kind of the same way.
Well, no.
Did you really think he'd have Leia and Luke kiss and then be like brother and sister? No.
George Lucas had the entire saga written out.
Not really. He even changed it as he went.
Yes, he added the movies as he went. It was just George Lucas's films.
There's so many changes.
Whose films
from
are
1
these?
to 3.
Whose films are these?
It's Disney.
No, it's not.
That's fine, but George Lucas only produced these films too. He did the same thing with the prequels.
Yes, and at least here's the thing though. There is one cohesive storyline in the prequels. There's one cohesive storyline in the original trilogy. What is the storyline that runs through all 3 of these new trilogy movies?
Rey's the descendant of a powerful Jedi.
When
Kylo's the descendant of a powerful Jedi.
Time out.
They meet in the middle.
You're so full of it because literally in the first movie, they talk about her being deserted. So they make a little reference of like, is she somebody?
But
is she nobody?
JJ. So it's not like JJ didn't do the third. Like he went 1 to 3.
They literally,
so everything in the third was meant from part 1.
And then in the sequel of said movie, they tell us, no, she's nobody, she's nothing. Don't ask again.
They also say Kylo could be tricking her. She's also warned that Kylo can be messing with your head. And then we find out the Palpatine was the one controlling half of those interactions anyway, so he's the most powerful Jedi.
Yeah, very coincidental that you have remember Barry of him. Oh, you know what? It was actually him cloning Snoke.
If you just don't like that in general, I get it. But there's so many similar things to the original trilogy that, do you find a lot of issues in the original trilogy?
No, because it happened first there. They're just rehashing except not as good.
Powers, like, I like to quote, when Palpatine shoots thunder in the original trilogy, they don't set that up at all.
Yeah, and
no one complains about it.
You want to know how awesome, you want to know how much I enjoyed watching Palpatine destroy that little fleet when Rey was sitting there?
Yeah.
When he was doing it against Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. Except it was better in Return of the Jedi. He literally even says, do it. In both movies, like, they literally... Everybody got mad at Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi because he got a little different. And then they sidetrack so much and give JJ back in there to just rehash the entire thing, which is fine. Individually, these movies are awesome. The saga, the trilogy, fails as a trilogy. What do you think about this lineage of Palpatine coming out and end up being the ultimate bad guy at the end of it?
I was really annoyed by it. The whole thing really annoyed me. I just felt like, I don't know, it kind of felt like it was pulled out of nowhere for me. I get why they did it. I understand the storyline. I understand what they needed to happen at the end of this to have the big bad. You know what I mean? Because you got to have a big bad. And I understand that. For me, I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like, I kind of figured he was gone the first time or the second time or the third time.
I think we can all agree to disagree on certain things because it's movies. I think our biggest issue we agree on is Star Wars fans are such a cancer sometimes to the way they go about these films.
Yeah.
Because I think the biggest issue is, again, I love everything Star Wars, I'm not going to say sorry about it. Mike gets it, I get it, Nicole gets it. But just looking on the outside, so much was done to please Star Wars fans. And these old school, I love the Christian Harloffs and the Rokas and all those famous podcasters, but you can't win with them sometimes because I'm like, you love an original trilogy that I can see from the outside has a lot of issues. You hate the prequels, which a young generation loves. And I talk to a lot of young people. They love this new trilogy. So to me, you either have an issue with a lot of things. I think you do a really good job of, no, I thought that was stupid then too. It doesn't make sense at all compared to, I liked it when the first 3 did it, but now that we did something kind of similar, I don't like it because it's the new 3. And then that makes it a cancer that they try to give you everything. I don't like that either. It's like, you didn't like the new stuff. You don't like the stuff we're giving you again. At this point, it kind of looks like you're using your platform just to bitch.
But that's what it is, right? Because we have all these things that are now restarting or reforming or whatever from old shows we used to watch.
Rebooting.
And it's rebooting all of these things because it worked and people are bitching about them, but they're still watching them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they're doing is they're continuing this. They went too far, they felt, the second time. Now we have the third movie where it really does follow along a lot of what the old trajectory, I should say. I don't think the storyline is necessarily exactly the same, but I do think there's a trajectory that they go on. And I think that what happens is people are like, well, the first one was better. Well, yeah, but that was 40 fucking years ago. So let's move on from that. Where are we now? What are we doing now? And it's I think something they did to tie back in a way, but nobody's going to be happy with it.
So I always think it's important that if you're going to criticize, then you got to come with something on the table to kind of okay, well, what would you have done? To me, what I would have done more as the story beat by beat would have been, you keep Force Awakens as it was. Force Awakens was a wonderful introduction for a new generation of Star Wars.
So I'm going to already stop you there. I agree with you. What do you say to the people that say it was too much of a rehash of New Hope? What's your fix there then?
You got to tell me their age. I think that age has a lot to do with that.
I agree with you. I think that's just a bitch to bitch.
Yeah. To me, the problem became in The Last Jedi when Snoke was killed. At that moment, after Ben/Kylo Ren has killed Han Solo, has now helped kill Snoke, Supreme Emperor Kylo Ren should be the leader of the entire fleet. It should not be the Emperor. He should be it. And the last one, Episode 9, should be about Kylo and Rey. The first half, can Kylo bring Rey over? And their final confrontation. That's what it should have been. Part 1 was the creation of Kylo Ren. Part 2 was the official, we have our Jedi, we have our Sith Lord. And then part 3 is the confrontation.
Yeah.
Instead, we got convolution, we got a lot of fan service, and we got really good movies that are just good movies. As a saga that we've come to love and hate about Star Wars.
Well, I'll say this. You say good movies. I agree, Rise of Skywalker, a lot of people would consider great. I think that's the consensus, but Last Jedi is considered one of the best Star Wars movies by Die Hard. So I'm just saying, there has been greatness in this trilogy as much as the original trilogy.
But you're misspeaking for me. I'm saying,
saying
movies,
that might misread
sure,
that.
but there's movies. As movies, they're from good to great. As a trilogy, it failed. And here's the truth. Other than, you could say whatever you want about the prequels. It succeeded in telling its story. From Anakin in the sand to the pod racing, Duel of the Fates, the stupid Attack of the Clones, to fighting in Deathmere, it told its story.
I'm agree on this. I think it is a solid trilogy. It's gonna make them. It already has the second highest grossing Christmas.
But that's not the point.
I'm just saying
that's not the point.
That the only difference to me nowadays compared to back, because obviously the prequels got murdered, and now this one's gonna have drama. social media. We have a platform now compared to back then. We didn't have a platform to talk about the original Star Wars.
No, I don't agree because coming from a storyteller's perspective, it's not a good storytelling. It's a good storytelling within each story. It's not a good trajectory from start to end because you have a lot of convolution throughout the story.
But that's all. I mean, again, it's all opinion.
Sure.
I think what helps is that if it was JJ Ryan, I'd agree. The fact that it went back to JJ, to me, is like, maybe it got a little clunky in the middle like the Hunger Games, but it ended on a high note.
But that's the thing is, the meal can suck, but the individual platters can be good. And that's what I feel like this new trilogy was.
But then you would still, okay, so I agree with you. It's like, well, the salad was really good. And then, you know,
the fish sucked, but the steak was good.
The steak was great. So but you leave dinner saying, yeah, dinner was pretty good.
Dinner was good.
Dinner
But
was
you're
really
not,
good.
but that's the thing. I'm not saying it wasn't good. But like, we're talking about a movie that, here's why this conversation is the way it is. Culturally speaking, Marvel movies are more popular right now than Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Superhero movies are more popular than Star Wars movies. Yeah. But culturally, to pop culture, to icons, to everything that is media and fiction, Star Wars is a beloved, dare I say, it's almost as big as Disney.
Passed down. And it's passed down generation to generation.
So we talk about it in the intricacies, the little stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm at this point, is where are we moving forward into this series? Everything seems to be going to the TV. But I think that these new cast of characters were almost doomed from the start. Because the magic that was 1977, an independent film, and what would become three icons, one of them who ended up becoming one of the biggest actors of all time.
Nerds almost.
It's literally the lightning in a bottle. You don't catch that. You know what was lightning in a bottle? Robert Downey Jr. in 2008. That's lightning in a bottle.
Now he's doing Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah.
I feel with this trilogy that it's kind of reminds me of like Indiana Jones. Like you have the originals and then you have the last one. And the last one wasn't good. I mean, it was a
Crystal
movie.
Skull, right?
Yeah. It was
okay.
a movie,
Yeah,
but it was okay.
It's
it was
okay,
a movie,
No,
but
I
it was a separate entity, and that's how I felt about these three. Is that the first one and second one maybe were together, but the first and third one were maybe together, but the second one felt like its own entity.
Like a side story.
Yes, that's how it felt. That's why I don't think it works as a trilogy. I think they all work as good stories being told, but together as three, I can't see it as three. I see it as two stories and a side piece that just kind of showed us, oh, this is how she became this and this is where he fits in.
But I will now to go more. Now I really want to praise the film in this. I felt from jump I was back in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Just like the Mandalorian, like this. JJ knows what the Star Wars universe feels like. Lando was great. Billy D. Williams killed it. Billy D. Williams killed it. Yeah, let's talk about some awesome stuff in the movie. Baba Freak was one of the greatest characters ever. The C-3PO was kind of cool. And then we got short.
That it happened so early that you knew it was. And then they set it up right there. Oh, by the way, doesn't R2 have your whole memory?
Yeah, so that was kind of.
I believe, but that was kind of like, well, you put it in the trailer like it was going to be sad. And I was sad for a second. And they said that. I'm like, oh, never mind. He's getting his memory back. And he's technically still alive. He just doesn't remember them. But he's hilarious. I do love C-3PO.
Yeah, C-3PO was great. I love all the rope. D10, Dio. Dio was great.
Yeah.
You gotta sell toys.
And BB-8 was great.
We gotta remember, it is Star Wars. It is for kids.
No, thank you. No, thank you. And then he comes backwards. He doesn't want to get it. Now, I will say this. I know a lot of people are complaining about it and still believe Return of the Jedi has the best Star fighter scenes.
No, this one's better.
I think this one has some great dog fights.
Yeah.
So
this one has some great dog fights in the air.
I love that part where all the ships come.
Yeah.
Because you know it's coming, and they flirt the line so well like Star Wars does, where you're like, man, maybe they're not coming, but you know they're coming.
I love the jumping.
Yeah.
In the Millennium Falcon, the space jump, that was really fun.
I thought from the opening text, the whole first, people were like, this first 25 minutes, you're either going to love it so much or hate it. I loved it. It was so fast.
What did you guys think about the force powers now in this movie, where you could use, instant pass to send quick pay each other lightsabers?
We've been flirting with the force. As a Star Wars fan, the force has been the most. It's just you can use it whenever you feel like.
What's the word? Adnimitus. What the God word that you use?
Omniscient.
Like, it just happens. Like, there's no reason. At any moment, his power can be even more. But that's what you accept about Star Wars, and that's what makes it fun. So to me, I was like, yeah, every movie, I do want to see a new Jedi trick, because they're Jedi. They're freaking wizards. Like, they should have this many tricks.
Well, and I think the thing that Star Wars does really well is that in anything supernatural, science fiction, anything like that, when you're writing a story, you have to have rules. There are rules, but then there are also rules made to be broken. And that's how you set it up. And that's kind of how they set up the Jedi like powers in general. And they did a really good job in the first, second, and third of this trilogy of kind of showing the growth of her powers and showing her really get a handle on it. Because until she handled it, he could not handle it as well. Like, there is that connection that they've said from the, like, in the, specifically in this story that really was like driven in, is that without one there is not the other. Like, without that balance of power or that connection of power, it can't happen. So
like,
by not
Luke and Leia a little too, like that was really cool.
So by this time, because she gets to this point of where she's like, when she takes the saber back and then goes, like, she is in her element. And now we have that stuff didn't happen until she did that, because now we've just turned the corner. She is a Jedi. She is.
I mean, let's be honest. Rey is the most powerful Jedi ever, because not only one, she's now a Jedi. 2, she's got all the powers of everyone. 3, she's Palpatine. Technically, Palpatine is the strongest being in the universe. So she's related to him, but with the morals of a Jedi and the training of a Jedi. So she's the most powerful thing in the entire Star Wars galaxy, movies, anything we've ever seen. I love it that Rey is the strongest being ever.
Do you guys think we see another movie with any of these characters again?
No.
Yes.
Really? I don't think we see another movie with any of these characters that they're the main focus.
It would be 20 years.
Yeah, I think
we will get another trilogy before we see these characters again.
Do we see
like old Poe and old Finn and old Rey?
Do we see Jedi in the next 5 years in the big screen?
Like a Star Wars movie?
Do we see Jedi?
Oh, yeah. Do I think the next movie is going to be old school, Old Republic stuff?
I'm not sure, but I think we're going to see Finn and Poe in something. Like, either one or
maybe Winter
both.
Soldier, Falcon, Winter Soldier stuff.
That's who I think we will see. Like, either one. I think Finn's a better story, but Poe has some interesting thing. The only reason I say that is because they start hinting at things with both Finn and Poe during the movie about their past and what they had been through, but they don't give you everything. They just give you a little nugget to kind of suck on and say, okay, like, how are we feeling about this?
Didn't Oscar Isaac say, too, that he thought their bromance should be a romance?
I agree with that.
They've thought about that.
That'd be kind of cool.
I've told
I'm in
you
for
before,
that.
I'm like, I'm okay with
I'm okay with that.
I'll be honest,
I'm
they've
cool with
set
that.
it up enough where I think, here's what I think it is. If I truly had to guess right now, I think Finn is straight. I think Poe is supposed to be gay.
But he does hit on Kerry Russell like really well.
Yeah, but I think he also
go anyway.
I think he's Han Solo, but I'm attracted to. He's like a Han Solo Lando mix, like how Lando was handled in Solo, where it's like he kind of loves whatever, like he just loves.
Oh, so you mean he's like Captain Kirk?
Yeah, he's a little ambitious. Like maybe he does attracted to this man and this woman.
The thing is like they had talked about it, and actually the characters themselves have kind of mentioned it on Twitter too. But they said Disney would never allow it to happen. So like, and maybe not now. Maybe in 20 years we'll be in a different place, and Disney would be more open to that. But as of right now, no. Do I think they should have been? Yeah, I think those two had amazing chemistry together.
Yeah, John Boyega and Oscar Isaac. Great actors.
Fantastic.
Great actors in this entire trilogy. They did do a great job of casting talent in this movie, so definitely a shout out to Kathleen Kennedy and the casting director who did that. But I guess kind of drawing this all back down, I guess we should kind of just talk about how we feel post. How we feel post Rise of Skywalker. So, Alex, the floor is yours. Go ahead and politically just any thoughts you have, kind of to finish off.
We're gonna see a bunch of Star Wars TV, like a bunch for the next 5 years. The next trilogy will be held in the Old Republic, so a lot of Jedis. Basically, all the stuff that's worked for 9 movies, they're gonna go back to that, tell a story. And then, do I see maybe in 15 years when we get an older Daisy Ridley and Oscar Isaac and John Boyega, maybe they bring back another one of, maybe we do find out she ended up with Finn or Poe or something, and let's see where the universe is there. And maybe the Jedi are rapidly back now, and a new evil is about to rise, and maybe we see a more different version of like the evil kind of rising compared to the good on top sort of thing. I don't know, but I think that's a long ways away. I think we have plenty of TV, though, to get us through because Disney Plus is going to run our lives for minimum 10 years now.
For sure.
So
For sure.
What do you have last after seeing Rise of Skywalker? What do you think moving forward?
The movie itself I liked, so that was good. It missed for me on some things. I thought some things were a little convoluted when it was going through. It felt very jumpy in certain spots. But I do think it's set up for, like Alex said, many more things to come within Disney Plus, possibly the big screen, but I think Disney Plus is really going to hit it for a lot of people. And that's actually where I'm hoping to see stuff because I feel like it'll come out faster because it's more like Netflix where you can get it out in a year opposed to if you're doing the theater, there's the marketing and there's this. Like Disney Plus now can preview and promote anything on their own platform. So if something is interesting, guess what? The first thing you're going to see when you turn it on, the next thing coming out, the most interesting thing coming out. So it's its own marketing platform as well as being a viewing platform. And they're doing a really good job of making sure that they're kind of pulling everything in. We were looking at it yesterday, me and your mom actually, and I was like, I didn't even realize they owned so many of these things. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see how they use their new platform to build on all of these stories.
I mean, to be fair, this truly might be one of the last big blockbusters we see in the theater because, maybe not your children, maybe not even your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, the theater's dying. I think we need to all accept that now that home video is becoming in and the prices and, they're buying their movie theaters at this point that we're this generation, like even now the Marvel's kind of getting out of it a little bit too. It's not going to be the same ever again. I think we're getting closer and closer to that time of there is not a lot of blockbusters. You're not going to the theater as much. Even your big properties are kind of being like, well, we're going to offer you so much more at home. You can just stay home and pay us monthly instead of buying these tickets and we're sharing this and we're having them produce this and they're going to buy their own theater. So it's interesting to see like maybe by the time we see these characters again, we're watching them at home.
Yeah, I personally loved this movie. I thought this was super enjoyable. I think this movie is also a mess. And this movie has a lot of misses in it, but I think it's a good, solid 8 out of 10. It's a really fun time to watch. I think it has something for a lot of younger audiences. I'm interested to see how it moves forward. I think this movie has everything it wants for social media people who want to get famous on either side. Either Rose Tico is the coolest character ever, and you knew she was going to be a superstar, and you needed her more in this movie, or you are just a monster and you made Kelly Marie's trans life a miserable hell. God. Either way, you are all pieces of shit in the character.
Or you can just be a normal in the middle and be like, she's cool. The character sucked.
She's all right.
I didn't want to see her anymore.
How about it's Star Wars. I don't need many more human characters.
Yeah, okay. Just give me space horses.
Give me my story, damn it, that you're lacking already.
Nope, lightning to ships.
So, all that and all, though, I had a lot of fun with it. It also goes to show that JJ is JJ. Just like Zack Snyder, there's some directors who are just certain ways of doing things.
So you gave it an 8 out of 10, Nicole. What do you give it?
I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay, so the show, I give it a 12. So we're going to give it a 10 out of 10
so
for the show.
So it's an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I give it a 9.
I loved it. I guess we'll just be talking about it randomly throughout the rest of the holidays.
I do enjoy the fact that people are at least accepting that Star Wars fans are terrible. Because at least it's not like The Last Jedi where it was so toxic, I think people can ignore it finally. And now it's, well, let's see how much money it makes. And let's see if we can at least going forward be like, I like that the people that love this movie truly love it, and they have perfect reasons to love it. I love the people like you that liked it, and they have a lot of problems with it. And even the people that thought it was terrible, well, you're a terrible person. You probably shouldn't be listening anyway.
Not at all. Movies are subjective.
No, not this one.
Thank goodness that at least we all got to see a fun movie this holiday season. But let us know your thoughts.
Cats, right?
That'll be enough of Star Wars talk for this holiday season as we get on with the rest of the show. Well, thank you all so much for keeping it with us here on The Good Brothers. Hopefully, you guys have all enjoyed our Star Wars spoiler review. And a huge shout out to the host of Murder, Mysteries, and More, the lovely Nicole Mancha, for giving us her opinion of what was the number one movie, because we're all going to the movies, good brother. And everybody did, to see Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, at $177 million. the third lowest in the new trilogy. It did make the least amount of money, so that has to be said. But obviously, $177 million. Easily gonna hit $1 billion. So we'll see how much it makes, where it lands all time in the
I'm
Star Wars
fascinated
pantheon.
to see the second viewings,
Yeah.
and obviously we talked before that it had the second highest. It made the second most amount of money out of Star Wars movies ever made on Christmas. So it's interesting because obviously we know what the reviews are, but we can take that aside and be like, okay, let's look at it as a business. Is this going to be a success? Because regardless of reviews, we already have people that love this movie so much that I think that'll carry it over enough that it's like, okay, now let's see if it makes the money. Because if it makes the money, we can call it a success. And we can call that more people liked it than hated it, and it made money. If it doesn't make money, like the money's really going to sway the vote of, was this a successful movie? Was this a successful trilogy?
And speaking of successful and a lot of money, Jumanji at number 2, another 26 million, 102 million over this last 2 weeks.
Good for it. Yeah. I hear it's great. We haven't had a chance to catch up, but I hear it's really good.
We have Frozen at number 3.
Really good.
At number 4, Cats.
Man, did you hear that they're going to go back and do the VFX even more and send it back out? One, I hear people say, if it was just a crazy movie that like had trippy things in it, I think it's okay. But the fact that some reviewers are like, no, it's just a bad movie, it's not even trippy, is upsetting.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to make a terrible movie like that, you got to be so terrible and so random and so visually different that I'd be like, I respect what you're doing, I want to see it.
And it's almost pretentious, I feel, to like it.
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of trying to be the other person in the room.
Oh,
to like
it's so trippy, but it's not though. Like, yeah, they put faces on cockroaches,
Yeah.
that's funny, but like...
And little mice.
But like, I feel like they could have gone a little further then and then keep going in that direction. Like, make them look even weirder then.
We have Knives Out at number 5,
Right.
Bombshell at number 6, Richard Jewell at 7, Queen and Slim at 8, Ford v Ferrari at 9, and at 10, Black Christmas.
A lot of Oscars.
Yeah, and also I want to give a quick shout out to Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood at 11, making another $1 million in its 8th
It's the Oscar
week.
season now during winter. Besides Star Wars, Jumanji, you're going to go out and see these movies that you
fifth
think,
week, excuse me.
you know, that people are talking about.
Yeah,
So.
so fun stuff in the movies, good brother, and obviously it's all about Star Wars right now. So this time next week, you can see if you want to spend some money on some stuff.
That's not Star Wars.
Absolutely nothing.
Really? Nothing's coming out?
I guess Little Women, 1917.
1917, I think will make a lot of money.
Sure.
It's being. I mean,
Just Mercy.
yeah, I think 1917 would be the only one just because it's being called maybe the greatest war movie of all time. I could see that being the only one that even does a dent.
Biggest one is The Grudge on January 3rd.
I thought that was going to go to Netflix too.
No, it looks like it's
getting
into
released?
Yeah, it's getting released.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we have that going on.
Oh, you know what? It's Netflix had bought it years ago, but they lost the rights and the film company picked it back up.
So that is what we have going on. So it's all about Star Wars. Everybody,
Yeah.
the kids are trying to watch
Now
that,
let's
so.
just see how much can they rack up. Like week 2 is again, it's gonna sway it. How much does it make week 2? If it's like, oh no, that's really solid numbers. Like, are we hearing every day this week? Hey, made another this much Friday, made another this one, because we're still sort of on a break with this winter break. So this weekend really is everything for the movie.
Good brother, the city of Chicago, along with the sports world, was a buzzing this holiday season because a trailer dropped for a certain team in a certain city with a certain
trailer.
athlete.
It was like a trailer of the last trailer, and I loved it.
We are talking about The Last Dance, about the Chicago Bulls, the 97-98 Chicago Bulls, the greatest sports team in history, some will say.
Yes.
Some will argue it, and that's
Sports
just not
team,
Homer
yeah,
saying it.
yeah.
It's just not me saying that we are Chicago Bulls stands.
I mean, it was the most dominant tenure of any sports history, franchise history, basketball history, male athlete history.
And you have to think Disney has to believe in it because it's on ESPN, ABC, and it's a 10-part series.
Disney Plus too.
And you have to imagine that they spent a lot of money on the amount of guests. Barack Obama.
And you got to think it's gonna win an Oscar.
OJ
Like
almost did.
they're aiming for an Oscar here, guys. Like just the people they lead with Jordan. They don't even let the man speak. They barely let you use his face, but it's Jordan. It's like I said, Barack Obama. They got Dennis Rodman to sit still and be normal for a little bit.
His 30 for 30 was phenomenal.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, yeah, guys. Like they're like you thought Endgame and you thought Star Wars is big. Like this is the same thing. Like they brought the greatest sports team ever with some of the most sketchy things ever. Like, I can't wait to hear the dirt they throw.
10 parts series.
10 parts.
I can't wait. And I thought the trailer was just, it gave me goosebumps.
Even if every winning year, like you're basically getting every year you get an hour documentary. That's insane. Hour plus.
Alex, what did you and the lovely Brittany get me for Christmas that I'm literally wearing in the studio right now?
Mike, you're wearing Mr. Potato Head pieces.
Mr.
Very
Potato Head.
I'm kidding. A Chicago Bulls sweatshirt.
Literally.
As terrible. I'm wearing red right now. As terrible as they are, it's our team still.
It's one of the greatest.
And it's not like the Bears where it was so long ago. Like I could still enjoy at least 20 years ago instead of at this point almost 40.
And speaking of enjoying good, brother, somewhere where you found a lot of success is now having the spotlight thrown upon him. We saw a trailer. You are kind of behind the scenes on a lot of different things. Navarro will be spotlighted. We've talked about this a few months back, but a trailer
they
dropped.
got the trailer. It drops January 8th. It's the same producers as Last Chance U. And it's on their official Twitter. It's on the Navarro thing. It's very proud. You know, there's a lot of, you get teary-eyed thinking about when you were that 19-year-old kid. When I went, I was 19. And you hear these kids talk, you hear Monica talk, you're like, I remember that. And like how my life changed. It is very Last Chance U. Like it does belong there because, she takes these kids from different countries and different states and different backgrounds. And, she really mothers you and teaches you life skills. And she's very harsh, very, very blindside, just tough Southern woman of the Lord. And she's great. I talk to her at least once a month still. She's the best person I've ever met. I'd be dead probably if it wasn't her from my college life. She's the best person ever. Like, she's one of my favorite people in the world. And I think any of her kids would say the same thing.
I can't wait to see it.
Monica Aldama, Navarro cheer. Watch it. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. I'm almost scared to be too emotional watching it because of remembering all of our stories and just what this woman has truly done for, like, a group of children that she adopted herself. So, can't wait.
And speaking of can't wait, I can't wait to check out The Witcher on Netflix. We did not get a chance to go all in on it like we are going to. Obviously, we are marks for Henry Cavill, and it's an amazing...
We hear great things.
Yeah, and obviously, the video game The Witcher 3, one of the greatest video games ever, and Cyberpunk coming out coming up here in 2020, made by the people who made The Witcher 3. So, super fun for that. So, we'll have a review about that maybe in the next week or so. So,
next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but loving what we're getting from the streaming wars. And obviously, it will be topped off by what we're going to see behind the curtain for all the amazing fans here, for all the people that listen to us. Mandalorian will be releasing in about 4 or 5 hours.
I can't wait. Taika Waititi. The early reviews are in. They say it's fantastic.
Okay, that's all we need to hear.
Yep, that's all it is.
They say
fantastic. It's fantastic, and Taika Waititi needs to do everything in Star Wars, and I agree with
I can't wait to see Deborah Chaw's
Taika Waititi,
yeah.
if it's anything like Thor Ragnarok, I rewatched Thor Ragnarok. It's so good.
Thor Ragnarok, and that led us into...
it's so good beyond its humor, even.
Yeah.
How just solid of a movie it really is.
We went from Thor Ragnarok to Black Panther to Infinity War, right?
I believe so. No, Captain Marvel was there too.
No, Captain Marvel was for
Endgame.
Endgame.
Right.
So those are two strong back-to-back-to-backs.
Saw Captain Marvel again. Definitely holds up a lot less the second time.
We're watching it today.
Yeah,
on Disney Plus.
It's we didn't love it the first time either, and it's fine. Brie Larson's great.
So we'll have a full review of The Mandalorian next week.
Baby Yoda.
Nothing happened in wrestling, good brother. It was
It's
Christmas weekend.
time, we know. No one pays attention during this, and at least everyone's kind of accepted it. I appreciate them.
They got some days off.
I like the way the New Day. I love the New Day's podcast. By the way, you put me
Great,
on too.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah,
I
I told
love
you.
those guys. They're the best.
Listening to
But
Biggie
I
talk
love
about the
them
injuries.
talk about the Christmas time. Like Biggie's such a relatable character.
Yeah.
As a person, you're the most like wrestler there is anymore.
How great is his sign up when they say to follow him on Twitter? And
Like
he's
great.
No.
Like he's great.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is I like that they talk about Christmas where he's like, yeah, we get it. Like wrestlers get it. Like But at least, like, I like the silly stuff better. I agree with them where it's like, if you're going to do randomness, I appreciate, like, Keith Lee in a Santa hat showing up. Like, that's fun to me because I'll remember that compared to just a bad show.
Right.
Or a show with just matches. At least because I do remember when they put a pumpkin on Cesaro. I remember to this day, or when he did an elbow with a broom between his legs. Like, I remember all that stuff. So I think that's more fun. Or where Kevin Owens threw a pie at someone. Like, I'd rather it be silly than just forgettable, I guess. So I don't mind it, but yeah, nothing's happening till Royal Rumble.
And that's the thing. Now, again, as we move a little bit closer, do you have any more guesses on who might win the Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble. That's tough. It's getting tougher to guess. I think you're supposed to think it's Seth Rollins, so it's probably going to be someone, I think, against Brock Lesnar. I think it's going to be Kevin Owens will win the Royal Rumble. That's my guess right now. I'm going to guess Kevin Owens or an underdog.
Very interesting. I don't know yet.
Because SmackDown is so easy to make a storyline with Roman and The Fiend or with Daniel Bryan and The Fiend still. So I think they don't need the Rumble as much, where I think with Raw you really do need the Rumble. Maybe a Drew McIntyre. Maybe it finally is time we push Drew McIntyre.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be.
I still feel like we're a face away. I still feel like that's more of a SummerSlam. And we're still one face champion away to take it from Brock to get to Drew. But I could see, like, again, I could see it being a Kevin Owens. And, you know, finally Kevin Owens being put over Brock Lesnar.
Right.
In a powerful way. And then a Drew McIntyre kind of coming and being the next guy after that.
And it'd be fascinating to see that. And then we'll see how we get it a little bit more shaped out for WrestleMania. Also, AEW, meh.
I don't care what they're doing.
Yeah, so we...
Jericho's podcast is fun still.
Yeah, it's always been fun. A little bit of...
I like JR. Sammy Guevara's cool, but they're not doing anything I appreciate. What do you think about the Young Bucks quitting Twitter?
I mean, I think it's funny that you could be on Be the Elites and dig at people all the time, but then quit when people say they get
so
you.
they're being kind of punks about it, where it's like, well, you're the one that put out a guy out there throwing weak-ass punches. Yeah. Like, you got to take the hits.
Yeah, I just think, you know what? It's so easy to be... It's so easy...
Why is it mean with the WWE, but not here?
Here's the thing. It's really easy to swing up, right?
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you have everybody saying, yeah, hey, don't pick on him, don't pick on him. It's a lot harder when all of a sudden you're the one with the bullseye on your back.
And now you're not cool anymore. You're like
mainstream.
Like
now.
You're really not like it's just not working. And JR's addressed it where it's like, yeah, he's like, you know what, there is a lot of problems and we do need to fix. He's like, I think we can fix them.
Sure.
He's like, and I agree, you could fix them. But I think this idea of fans, and maybe it's more fans and we're just taking it out on the elite, where it's like, you came in so hot talking all this garbage, and maybe it's just the fans. I'll give it to more of the fans kind of making us really not like AEW sometimes, being like, it's perfect. It's like, no, it's fine. And then it got worse because you thought you were perfect, and these smarks are telling you you're perfect when it's not working. And it's like, no, the pieces are there. I will watch. But you're not setting up, beside the WWE guys, nothing's set up the way I want it.
And I love what Eric Bischoff said on one of the podcasts, or I think it was on his podcast. He said, you know, it's funny, people want to use ratings that really don't know what ratings are. But more importantly, you never hear network executives say ratings aren't important. Yeah. You hear wrestling fans say it. You hear wrestlers say it. Mm-hmm. You hear the newsletters people say it. But you'll never hear a USA TNT executive say ratings don't matter.
Like that million matters.
Isn't that something though? How we all just say, "Oh, ratings don't matter anymore," but you haven't heard an executive ever say that ratings don't matter.
I guarantee Fox thinks ratings matter.
Isn't that interesting? Especially when you're paying billions of dollars for these things. Yep. But good brother, speaking about paying billions of dollars, you could pay billions of dollars
pay me $1 billion
and support this podcast, this network, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. There you can enter tiers to be entered to podcast contests, along with early access to our interviews with athletes and celebrities. We're also all over social media. You can follow the lovely Nicole Mancha everywhere in the universe at Typey1Tipsy. The Good Brother is on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network, along with twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts at Mercado Airwaves, and like, rate, review, and share us. It would be our Christmas present that you gave us, and we really will love you even more heading into 2020. But I think that does it for us, good brother. Any last words?
Last words.
For the good brother himself, Alex Mercado.
Adios.
And for the lovely Nicole Mancha, I'm Mike Mercado. We'll see you in the next episode of The Good Brothers here on the Mercado
Murder, Mysteries, and More
Airwaves Network.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves.
Hey guys, Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. We want to thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network. And if you want to see what we're up to outside of the station, please follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the good brother Alex Mercado on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. The lovely Nicole Mancha is on all social media platforms at Typing When Tipsy. You can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves, our pop culture show, The Good Brothers, on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod, our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More, and of course, like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all our videos on YouTube.com/Mike Mercado 2333 or by searching Mercado Airwaves Network. We play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network, and of course, you can support our network by finding a tier just for you, whether you want early access, you want to be part of polls, you want to win contest prizes, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we really appreciate it wherever you get your favorite podcast. So like, rate, review, and share us, and please spread the word. For the good brother, Alex Mercado, for the lovely Nicole Mancha, I'm Mike Mercado. We wish you a happy, healthy holiday season and an awesome new year. Hey guys, Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. We want to thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network. And if you want to see what we're up to outside of the station, please follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the good brother Alex Mercado on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. The lovely Nicole Mancha is on all social media platforms at Typing When Tipsy. You can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves, our pop culture show, The Good Brothers, on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod, our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More, and of course, like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all our videos on YouTube.com/Mike Mercado 2333 or by searching Mercado Airwaves Network. We play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network, and of course, you can support our network by finding a tier just for you, whether you want early access, you want to be part of polls, you want to win contest prizes, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we really appreciate it wherever you get your favorite podcast. So like, rate, review, and share us, and please spread the word. For the good brother, Alex Mercado, for the lovely Nicole Mancha, I'm Mike Mercado. We wish you a happy, healthy holiday season and an awesome new year. Hey guys, Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. We want to thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network. And if you want to see what we're up to outside of the station, please follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the good brother Alex Mercado on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. The lovely Nicole Mancha is on all social media platforms at Typing When Tipsy. You can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves, our pop culture show, The Good Brothers, on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod, our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More, and of course, like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all our videos on YouTube.com/Mike Mercado 2333 or by searching Mercado Airwaves Network. We play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network, and of course, you can support our network by finding a tier just for you, whether you want early access, you want to be part of polls, you want to win contest prizes, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we really appreciate it wherever you get your favorite podcast. So like, rate, review, and share us, and please spread the word. For the good brother, Alex Mercado, for the lovely Nicole Mancha, I'm Mike Mercado. We wish you a happy, healthy holiday season and an awesome new